Morning. It's breakfast time at the zoo. It's like 8:30. I don't know why I'm just I'm tired in the mornings at the moment. Maybe Chanel does all of the morning shifts, and Juliet is not quite sleeping through the night. She's generally up at 4, but cuddling a hug, and she goes back down again. So almost there, but yeah, very, very tired in the mornings. Don't know how Chanel does it, but yeah, waffles for breakfast, high carb Chanel. Juliet has hers with nut butter. I've got mine with some banana, and the surplus we'll whack in the freezer for future waffle needs. We've got a couple of bits this morning. It's freezing outside. It is so cold outside. I think it's minus 12 degrees outside right now, so I'm not going to train outside because there's nothing good that comes of that. Like down at 1,000 meters, it's a high of 1 degree. We're going to get on the turbo because I'm okay with the turbo. I'd rather do turbo and risk that out there. So I've had a good stint on the road. And it's time to turbo. 4 hours today, so it's longer than. It's a long one. That's a very long one. It's equivalent of like doing 6 hours on the road. Contract year, so can't really skip these things. Just don't really skip these things in any year. But contract year for a 33-year-old, I need to make sure I'm good, really good, because if I'm not, I'll be out this sport quickly. So just to show how cold it is, because actually, what a beautiful day to ride a bike if it wasn't like very cold, very, very cold. And some will say I'm soft. And I'm okay with that. But this has just happened. This gave me a fright. We use the outdoors here as a fridge. We had some sparkling water on the terrace on a balcony. Yeah, one of those just exploded, which gave me a real fright. So she cold. Interestingly, the glasses go in before the bottle cap gets pushed off. I thought it'd be the other way around, but. We're gonna hop on the turbo, set it up so there's airflow through, so there's like a fan bringing the cold air in. So it's not gonna be like cold, but I don't want it like room temperature warm, which is it's quite warm on the flat, so one or the other. But yeah, as beautiful as that is, we're not going out there. Not today. Not on a bike anyway. Putting the trainer here. That's my Elite Duetto XR. Really good trainer. Just real happy with it. And I've used them all. I had a Wahoo, that's fine. Had a Tax, that was fine. Power meter on it is super accurate, I find. It's almost spot on, in line with power meters that I've had on my road bikes, because I'd like to make sure, so any interval sessions, I can be confident that using the inbuilt power meter is accurate. So that's good. Gonna whack the road bike on. It's filthy. There's still just 5 spokes in the front. I had a puncture and it's tubeless, and I'm plucking up the courage to try and fix it. So I'm slowly turning into a hipster. So I have a spoked rear wheel and a composite spoked front wheel. So I'm very slowly turning into what would be described as a cool cyclist. I'm gonna put a fan there. I'm gonna put my entertainment here. Take the gloves off. In terms of entertainment, I have the iPad for films, the laptop for riding. I'll probably use Zwift today, just because of the duration and the lack of intervals, but just have it there in the background. I've also got a podcast to listen to. I was on social media, a guy that I've spoken to, Jack Aitken, who's a Formula 1 test driver, also a avid cyclist. He's done a podcast about the crossovers between motor racing and professional cycling, and I've heard people talk about the crossovers from the cycling point of view, but not so much from the motor racing point of view. So I'm going to listen to that as well, which should be quite interesting and should take up an hour, I think. Plenty of stuff to keep me entertained. But I'll put the fan there so there's cold air being blasted this way, and I've turned the radiator off as well. So yeah, get it all set up. So nutrition for this, which will probably interest a lot of you, is well, that's 80 grams, 40 grams, 40 grams of carbs. That will get me through it. That should get me through it. Maybe a couple of snacks like waffle or something. So I put those in drinks bottles, and then I'd have this bad boy on the go as well, because on the turbo, as soon as you start feeling a bit flat and underfueled, it's pretty much time to get off. You're just sort of flogging a, I don't know what the expression is, but carby breakfast, carby dinner last night, so should all be good. And Juliet's currently having a carby lunch.
Or not eating.
Or not, aren't you?
Sneering.
Okay, time to stop putting this off and get on the bike. Last piece of the puzzle before we get going is the towel situation.
All your training towels are in the hallway cupboard.
And that is where I am right now. What brand towel are we going to take today? We're going to take an Independent Pedalers towel, because we're a fan of the Independent Pedalers, UK TT team, run by a mate of mine, Aaron, and yeah, helped us out with the hour record as well. So I'm going to whip the bag off because I don't want to. No, I'm not. I don't care that much. So I think we're ready. Laptop, fan, foam roller for propping up fan, cat scratcher in case Albert needs some help, iPad for viewing, the outdoors for the fresh air, bike, large bottles, and yeah, turbo pedals there. I think we're good. We're good to. I think we're good to go. Just need to put my shoes on. Waiting on this year's Bonts. I'm gonna have to start racing in last year's colours, which, you know, is no crime at all. Gone for a tan, like a tan leather this year, I think. If Bont can come up. I like to set Bont challenges, and this year's challenge was tan leather. So we'll see how they come out, which will be fun. Still going to be Little Bleeders branded because why not? Yeah, and I think, you know, a turbo training session like this, you have to make it as entertaining as possible, and as comfortable as possible as well, because, you know, it's all like, oh yeah, you gotta stay motivated and do the hours and stuff, but yeah, you gotta make those hours as nice for yourself as you can, like in terms of how you dress, like putting on a decent pair of shorts. I'm in my team shorts, which are the most comfortable shorts I've ever had, and Jinga, they've had to get very good very quickly because they're a new company, and we've provided an awful lot of feedback to a lot of their clothing, but the shorts, everyone was like, no, they're good, the chamois is sensational. So in a set of them for the next 4 hours, and yeah, got everything I need here, just about. It'll be recorded on Swift, but I'll also record it on the Hammerhead, so that's what uploads to Training Peaks from the crank power meter. But before we start, the longest I've done on Turbo Trainer was in 2000 and I had this conversation with James Pickley on the road the other day. 2000 and end of 2010, start of 2011 in the winter. It was foggy outside, and my mum was. This was when I was living with my parents. My mum was doing a nut that I was to go out training in the fog, so I settled in on the turbo, and these were before the days of anything interactive. So it was a direct drive turbo trainer, but it wasn't smart. It wasn't a smart. It was a stupid turbo trainer. Yeah, I settled in and I pulled up 3 films, got through 3 films, and it was 5 hours to the dot at 220 watts. And I don't think I could do that again for 2 reasons. One is I know that 5 hours just, it's kind of not necessary. Kind of this what I'm doing today is about the limit of what one would need to do on a turbo, I feel like, and most coaches I speak to would be inclined to agree. But yeah, back then I was about to join Team Sky. I was very young, motivated. Training program said 5, and I did 5. And I think my dad was working in his office, and I was working in the garage, and I was still getting to watch movies. So I'll maintain he had a comfier office chair than I did. Tell me what the longest you've done on a turbo is, because I know there's some mad dogs out there who have done. I know a mate of mine down the road, Willie Smith, did 1,000 kilometers on Zwift. People did some mad things in lockdown. Anyway, let us know what you've done on the turbo and what keeps you going. And I hope this setup helps you think about your setups. Hey look, it's even snowing indoors now. Anyway, let's get going. .30 minutes in, first P-stop. I always find actually the first hour to be like the longest, and then the last hour to be the second longest, and the middle couple to be alright. And that includes that for training outdoors as well as indoors, or if you're doing an interval, then the first, like if it's 20 minutes, first 5 minutes seems to take a long time, and then kind of rattle through the next. But yeah, I've got the new Venom film on the go. Sucker for a superhero film. So that'll take up first kind of 2 hours of the ride, and then feel good. Clearly just sitting at kind of a low 200s average, which would be nice to keep. Not really looking at it, I'm not looking at a power on the screen, just riding on kind of feel, just trying to feel endurance. And yeah, clearly carbing up was good, because like I say, I don't want to be running dry on carbs on the turbo, because it's miserable. Blowing your doors on a turbo or being a bit hunger flattered is going to go out there and say one of the worst feelings in professional cycling or regular cycling, any kind of cycling. So yeah, anyway, quite okay so far. Right, just a little food stop over in the kitchen. Had some waffles, and we just crossed the halfway mark. So 2 hours in, 2 hours to go. First hour, like I said, dragged a bit. Second hour has flown by, and yeah, now we're into 3 and 4. Not much more exciting to tell you. I'm struggling to find things to watch on Netflix, so I think I might step into the podcast, maybe. So, but yeah, we're doing good. My leg here. And that's the 3 hour mark done. 1 to go, we're on countdown now. And I think, like I said, that second hour and the second hour and the third hour, I now have a floating camera, 2 hands. The second hour and that third hour just does rattle by. It's like once you get that first chunk done, you kind of settle into it and switch your brain off a little bit. It's actually been a lot more fun than perhaps 4 hours on the trainer would. I think because once I was over the 2 or 3 hour mark, I knew I was doing it was a good thing I was achieving. Yeah, that's pretty hardcore. I've travelled precisely nowhere. Kept a good average. I think the important things was entertainment and constant flow of carbs. So I've been running on around 80 or 90 grams of carbs an hour. I feel as powerful now as I did in the first 30 minutes. So it keeps morale up. I think certainly had I started to hunger flat, then this would not have been a 4 hour turbo session. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and first one of 2022. I think I'll do a few more like this, training, what I'm doing in training, how I tackle it, how I get through it, a bit on the mentally, I motivate myself. And I'm not sure that's completely translatable, because don't get me wrong, I have the utmost admiration for people that train a lot whilst doing a full-time job. I look at that and wonder how it's possible, because I've just helping looking after a 1-year-old makes training a little bit harder, and I only help. I do 20 to 30% of the leg work, so to speak. From my own world, my own professional, I do nothing else with my life except train to be the best athlete I can be. Well, I hope some of this is helpful. I know some of it won't be translatable, but I hope people can take something from it. Anyway, so yeah, we'll wrap it up. Let's just draw to a close, and yeah, Happy New Year everyone. Thanks for supporting the channel as ever. It was hopefully a quieter 2022. There's no threat of the Olympics and all guns blazing for that, and there's no hour record. I don't think there will be an hour record. It is contract year, so there is that, but I will, as ever, take you along for the journey, all the trials and tribulations, and yeah, hopefully secure something for 2 more years, and then that brings me to being a fairly old bike rider. So that might be it. But yeah, it's all fun and games. Life's good. I love it. Zero complaints at all this end. So yeah, anyway, I've rambled. Thanks for watching. Thanks to these guys for keeping me entertained, and yeah, I'm gonna jump in the shower, have a recovery drink, have dinner, play with Juliet, go to bed.
What have you just discovered?
So, just as a conclusion to today's 4-hour trainer ride, I explained to my coach that the weather was probably unrideable at the moment, so he said he'd change things for... and it's changed and changed again. So whilst I was doing my 4 hours, my training peaks changed to show 2.5 hours. So an hour and a half ago, I could have been done, but here we are. I'm very happy I did that regardless. Like I said, just a bit of a sense of achievement, gritting it for 4 hours, and yeah, it's not going to do me any harm. Is it, Juliet?
The state of you, Juliet. The state of you.
Might not have eaten as many carbs as I have, but there's more on her face.